Good morning. My speech is about the diabetic prices of insulin. Diabetic families all over the world are struggling to afford the prices of medication they need to survive. In my last analysis, the main points that I provided were how the main obstacles of insulin is needed, like they need to be avoided so that people all over the world can get the medications they needed at a price that they can afford. My main speaking points, I'm going to talk about the insulin production, how it's actually made, the history of it, the threats and problems, possible solutions, conclusion, and results. So they're leaving families scrambling right now. The prices all over the world, specifically in America, all because of how politics are tied up in the prices. A lot of people in the audience analysis said they had never actually thought about it, and they've said, yes, they are too high, or they just never really thought about how it impacts families all over the world and how it could impact your neighbors, your friends, or actually the people in your family. Insulin has a really long history. It's kind of crazy. But one way to determine if the prices are actually too high is to take a look at how insulin is produced and how it was actually made in history. It was discovered in 1922, and in this time it was actually very unpredictable. There's a 25% chance that you would have too much of a dose or too little of a dose because it wasn't really regulated at all. They had just made it, they put it out in the market that same year, and they didn't know its potency and how it would vary from vial to vial, and it varied a lot, causing a lot of people to pass away right off the bat, but it also saved a lot of people, so it was usually taken, but very, very precautionary medicine. In the article, History of Insulin by Celine Poisson and Isaac Check, Frederick Banting, an orthopedic surgeon, had the idea of isolating pancreatic islet extracts by litigating the pancreatic duct of dogs, keeping them alive until the acini degenerated. That's page 1. So this is pretty much saying that right away, they actually started producing insulin with the lining of dogs, and they used that to produce the insulin because they found that it was very useful for people. Another way in the history was they started making like cattle and pig insulin instead of dogs, because dogs, they just kind of felt really bad about it, but pigs became more reliable, and so did beef. Beef came out in 1998, and then the pig insulin came out in 2006, and these were proven to be a lot more effective and easier to keep track of the potency of the insulin, and it didn't vary as much from person to person. A lot of the threats and problems involving insulin production are pre-qualifications, rising prices, manufacturing monopolies, and politics. So the pre-qualifications of insurance and manufacturing companies to build bioengineering manufacturing plants is causing a lot of places to not open up insulin businesses. In an article by Mariana Garcino, Christopher Perrin, and Cecile Mace, pre-qualification is the biggest process by which the WHO evaluates the quality, safety, and efficiency of medical products with the aim of expanding the pod of available quality medicines, 842. So this is pretty much just saying that they were really trying to find a way to get more insulin companies to get into market to lower the prices so they didn't have a monopoly on these businesses. Unfortunately, this had the opposite effect, and those businesses that were open stayed open, and they dominated the market so they could raise prices to whatever they felt necessary and whatever they wanted. And in 2016, Mylan raised the price of the EpiPen, a delivery device for epinephrine, which is used to treat severe allergic responses, from about $100 to $600. This is the same thing that was going on with insulin, except at even higher prices than before. A vial of insulin that would cost $4 to produce, they would rise prices, and it would almost cost up to $900 to $1,000 for a person without insurance. Some ways that we could actually help the market and get rid of these would be to petition. So we could petition the companies to lower their prices for this life-saving medicine. I think that this would be a good idea because people right now are not speaking out about why it's so important to not have these problems. And it would just be a really good idea to actually get the companies aware of what they're doing, because morals don't seem to be a problem for them right now, but it really should be. Another thing that we could do is to pass a new bill to help exclude the pre-qualification process for businesses to come into the company. So this would allow better and more companies to come into the market and eliminate those monopolies that are already there. Here's some more excited, but for some parents in Africa, having a child die from diabetes is a relief. They no longer have to foot the bill for insulin, which means that they can pay to send their other children to school. This is a reality in Africa that is quickly becoming a real possibility and reality for families in America. If my speech has not moved your opinions on diabetic medication prices, take a look into the other families' realities, and has this changed your mind? Because this is happening all over the world, not only in Africa. More families in America are struggling with the prices, and it's becoming a real possibility. Thank you for listening to my speech.